talk with Thariya. Our special guest is Arjun Jeger, the co-founder of Digital Content Pvt Limited, a consultant and served as a digital expert in various leading media institutions in the country. He has been in the industry for more than 10 years. Welcome to this episode, Arjun.
Thank you, Tarindu. It's really nice to be here.
Yeah,
Usually, most of the talk shows are where you have celebrities, who take part. But it's nice of you to bring us, very guys like us who are behind the scenes and low profile to, uh, come on an interview. I'm happy to be here. Yes.
yeah. So basically, that's a whole purpose of conducting this episode. So then everybody will get to know everyone, and everyone get the chance to share their stories. Okay, so Digital Content Pvt Limited, it was founded in 2017, and now it has come a long way up to the point that where you guys have won awards very recent time. So what is Digital Content Pvt Limited? What does it stand for?
Right. So you know what? I used to work for media. You know that, right? I was part of
Yeah,
electronic media, print media. So I was in the digital departments of those media.
yeah.
So one thing I realized, Tarinder, was mostly media is always creating the content, right?
Mm.
And brands go do a piggyback ride on those content, right?
Correct, correct.
Media is always creating content. You go to YouTube, a few years ago, it was always media who creates all the episodes. I mean, it's just the content which goes on TV, it's cut and put into all the YouTube channels, and that's how content was out there. And then you
Yeah,
have the news platforms and all of that.
yeah.
So while working for media institutions, what I really realized was why not really create a company which can create content on behalf of brands,
Okay,
right? So that was one of the things, we thought, okay, let's give it a try. Uh, so I had my one of my personal reasons why I wanted to move out of the corporate or the working for a media institution. So I had to, I was going through my personal marriage, all of that. So I wanted to, try it out, moving out of Sri Lanka. But then I realized, okay, Sri Lanka is my comfort zone, right? I know the people
yeah,
here, I know the industry here. So
yeah,
that's when I realized, oh, I want to, create something here in Sri Lanka.
yeah,
Then I saw a content slowly taking the center stage,
yeah.
and that's when we realized, okay, why not create a company to create content? And this was a thought just over a coffee. I think was just in a coffee shop or something. Just came up, with the name Digital Content Pvt Limited. Then that's
Okay.
how we created the company.
All right. So basically, what you are telling me is that there was this gap when it comes to content creation. So that's why you have created the company. That's why you founded the
That,
company. Um,
yes.
Still, that gap is there, or is it? How do you see, like, you founded it in 2017? Now 4 years have gone, and how do you see the difference?
Right now, I think there is a lot of other. So in 2016-17, if you saw, most of the so-called digital agencies or social media agencies, they were only managing a particular Facebook page or the social media platform on behalf of a client, right?
Yeah,
So that was not what exactly I wanted to do. So as I said, we want to create good content, meaningful content, right? Not content which provokes negativity in the society. So that's how we thought we create this company, Digital Content.
mm,
And today's situation is where I think most of the agencies, most of the digital social media agencies are, trying to get there, trying to have their own, content creation arm. Or sometimes we see, they even collaborate and work with us. So that is also the way forward, because sometimes, in this industry, you can't do everything, right? It's always
correct.
good to collaborate with, right, set of people, and they work with us. So that's where, we don't really take anybody as competitors, or even if you compete, it's about you collaborate and see how you can do things together, right?
Correct.
Because the moment you are threatened and you are worrying about competition, that's when it is your own downfall. So
Mm,
that's what I believe.
yeah. So whenever you mentioned that, you mentioned about meaningful content. What do you exactly mean by that? What do you mean by meaningful content?
Meaningful content is something which provokes positive thoughts for the viewer, right?
Mm,
It's not something which creates negativity, because most of the platforms you go today, especially media platforms, it's, I see personally, it's mostly negative contents,
Mm,
accidents, murder, rapes, talking about issues, right? So
mm,
why not, when you create good content, positive, which provokes positive thoughts, right? Something which creates awareness. Even if there's a Women's Day coming up, you do something really out of the box, which actually makes people think, and also slowly they can also change,
mm.
right, the way they think, perception. So that's what I meant by meaningful content.
All right. So basically, whenever you create those stuff, you must be having a team which which puts this strategy together and everything, right?
That's
So
right.
basically, what you do is you go into in-depth research and go get the insights and then get on with the creating the content.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. All right.
We
So
have a team who are really, so what, me working for almost 10 years in different, places, especially in the corporate life,
mm,
some of the pain points, but I realized as a, say, employee, right? So those are the frustrations which I never want my team to go through, right?
okay.
So we make environment very, very friendly, right? We treat each other as adults.
Mm,
We treat each other as professionals, right? So we
yeah.
don't like to follow up and get things done,
Correct.
and ask what's going on, all of that. And end of the day, as a I always believe, it's like our company is more like a structure where it's a very flat structure. We don't have the hierarchy systems. We don't have these memos and emails, which is going up and down to get
Mm,
things done, right? And we treat each other like, it's like a team. Like, say example, you're playing a game of football, right, or cricket. There is a
mm,
captain. Yes, a captain
mm,
help you to delegate to get the job done, but everybody is a player. Like, they contribute towards a common goal,
mm.
so, or common objective. So that's how we play. And if you actually see digital content, we are more like the underdogs, right? We are, all of us come from different backgrounds. We don't have a massive or huge experience in terms of
Mm.
advertising,
Yeah.
but we come from media, we come from marketing. That's how it's each person's expertise which adds to the success of our company.
Correct, correct. So you told that you've been in the industry for like, no, not in the industry, like you've been an employee for 10 years, more than 10 years. And you
Yeah.
specifically talked about frustrations. I would say because of those frustrations, only now you have come to this, status, because you really cannot take them as frustrations. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in a position to, explain your people what the frustration is. So you'll have to go through that experience. You may add into that, Arjun.
Yes, so frustrations are, they come from different ways, right? But if you're in your comfort zone, and if you think just because you're being pushed, it doesn't mean that is frustration, right?
Mm-mm.
Frustration, in the sense, it's like you have a vision, and if that's like there's somebody or something which is not allowing you to go towards that vision, then that
Mm,
is when the frustration kicks in, right?
mm.
So that's what I meant by that kind of frustration. And again, when it comes to work, then if you have too many protocols to follow, that's also
It's a
it's not
frustration.
uh,
Mm.
yeah, it's a frustration. Now, for example, if you look at large companies or multinationals, you spend a lot of time on reporting, right? Creating decks, documents, trying to send reports to a regional office, which they are not even in Sri Lanka. You
Yeah,
spend, and then if you have a bunch of, I don't know, directors or investors, you spend a lot of time on creating such, reports. So time is equals to money. That's what I believe, right? So
of
when
course.
yeah, when you have time to actually get the job done, go out there, think differently, come up with crazy ideas, implement it. And especially in our line of work, right? As Steve Jobs always said, customers don't know what they want till you show them what they want, right?
Of course.
So it's our job to go and show them what's new in digital, especially what's new in creativity,
Mm.
what's new in technology. These days we're doing a lot of virtual events, right? The new norm after ever since COVID happened.
Yeah,
So it's our job is to go and show things. So for that you need time, right, to
yeah,
research, to learn. That's what I said. When you work for larger corporates or companies, there's so much of protocols you need to follow, which actually puts you under pressure from performing or giving your best
correct.
output.
So you brought up a valid point there. Like after COVID, like everything has changed, man. Like the way that we think, the way that we consume data, the way that we consume media, everything has changed. You told that like you were specializing in online events, virtual events. Talk to us about that, like if you can elaborate more on that.
Yes, so I think one of the first ever incidents happened was usually, as you may know, we do a lot of live streaming. That's something we started back in the year in 2017 when we started DC. So live streaming was one of the services we were offering to our clients, and
Okay.
uh, in a way we were improving or getting better at it every month, right? Because
Mm,
we have challenges. For example, there might be data issues, connectivity issues, a
of
particular
course.
location.
Yeah.
Yeah, there few walls everywhere, so the data, the strength is very low. So
Low. Yeah.
every time we have an event,
Mm,
there is a challenge. That way we also research, we get in, bring down equipments which can boost our signals, then again giving that HD quality, and then
mm,
using wireless cameras. So likewise we were always trying to uh, improve our service which we offer to a client. So that's when, mostly when there's an event which is organized, there is an event company which does the event, and the
mm,
client just calls and says, guys, you need to do the live streaming. We want to stream this live on our Facebook or YouTube platforms,
mm,
right? So I think the very first event was somewhere in March for a mobile company.
mm,
So we were all set. The event was planned at Golf Face Hotel, and then we were just about to go and do the live streaming, right?
okay.
And it was somewhere in the second week or third week of March. Um, COVID happened. Entire event had to cancel, right?
Mm,
Our scope is just increased because we were just doing live streaming. Then
mm,
all what we had to do, shift the entire event into a studio space, right? We had to bring all the panelists and the performers and all of them into a studio,
mm,
and then
mm,
we put up the LED screens and whatever the backdrops and everything inside the studio, right?
mm.
There is no people, there is not no ones to watch, no one to there is no cocktails, there is no food, right? There are
Yeah.
no guests.
Yeah.
uh, so it was the new norm, so we started with that, and then of
Mm,
course with that one going successful, then we got more inquiries, then we started improving our work at it. And then the best thing which happened was we started collaborating some of the experts in the industry. So as I said, we don't try to do everything ourselves, right? If you look at the way we work, we have Dice, which is a influencer, full service influencer marketing agency. Then we have
mm.
Arc, which does all our animations and social media content and all of that. Likewise, we have Jasmine Media. We work with that's all our apps and mobile sites and e-commerce websites and all of that.
Mm,
All the
mm.
performance is done by that company. So likewise, we partnered with Coconut Rock JNT Productions. So those guys have been in the industry. They've been some of the best guys in doing offline events. So we thought, why not? We have the technology with us, and those guys have the expertise in doing the event. So we got together, and we managed to do some of the best events last year, from award ceremonies to
Mm.
launches to then we even brought in new technology where instead of using an LED screen, just having a
Impressive.
green screen.
Okay.
Yeah, the keying in all the
Yeah.
effects and the videos and all of that. So that way, actually, for a client, you save a lot of costs, and then you make the most out of having a virtual event.
Mm.
And adding
So.
to that, I'll just give you one example, which happened last year somewhere in November, when the budget was released. We had our client, who was one of the leading audit firms in the country, right? So they had to they usually every year, so I think for more than a decade, a couple of decades, every year just after the budget, they organize they book a hotel ballroom, because if you see in Colombo, any hotel ballroom can accommodate up to maximum of say 800 to 1,000 people, right?
Mm, mm,
So these guys, so this we had a challenge. I think that's when the second wave was had just kicked in, right?
mm.
So we had to do a virtual event for them, right?
Okay.
So usually they have a limitation of inviting only their 800 to maximum 1,000 of their top customers for the event, right?
Mm.
For the budget presentation. This time, because of virtual event, they were managed to have more than 2,000 registrations for the event.
Okay. All right. Wow.
That's
Th- That is
exactly. Yeah. So
that's for an
I'm cost
online event.
for an online virtual event. So the
Oh.
2000 they had, they could invite more of their, potential customers, or their top customers for the event.
Mm.
And we had the central bank governor, the honorable state minister for finance,
Yeah.
all of these people, and panelists,
Mm.
economists,
Mm.
all of them joined wherever they could, wherever they were. Only thing was, just a day before we, spoke to their secretaries. We just told them, like, when you sit in front of the camera, or in front of your laptop, how to adjust the screen, your angle, how your neck should be, so that, when you come on live, it's something new to these people, right? Because
Yeah.
others, who are in the uh, event industry, or who does virtual events, they know the scene. But these guys, I know they are professionals who are into different areas, so we had to do that training a little bit. And next day, it went very smoothly,
Mm.
and it was a successful event. So
Okay. So when you said, like, you told it's 2000 registrations online.
yeah.
So what does it say? As in, like, people really have changed to the new normal, or it's just that what's the insight that you could actually give to our viewers?
Yeah, insight for the viewer is there's no option, right? You need to only face to change, adapt, and, like, get on with it, right?
Mm.
Because life has to go, right? So initially, even if you look at, I'm just telling you for example from my team, right? So initially, even these audio calls, WhatsApp calls is not something we were comfortable with, right? You just do a normal call, you talk to it, you put a conference call, right? Then when
Mm.
this COVID and everything happened, you had to automatically adapt to it, right? And then switching on your cameras and talking like this was, again, we were in a comfort zone. We were always willing to do the audio calls, right?
Mm.
So I think when you get used to it, then, you're just, exposed, you're ready to just jump on a video call, be a part of a virtual event.
Mm.
So I think eventually, you just, for example, you look at teachers now, right? You
They
go
do
to a
online
place like,
classes.
exactly, if they're doing online classes, you go to Unity Plaza or somewhere, the number of, teachers and students who come to buy laptops now.
Mm.
So that way, the huge or a significant growth in people actually, a significant difference in people adapting to new norm or the new technology.
Correct. So since we have actually talked a lot about, what you do and what you have done, and like the new norm and everything, I would really like to go to the past now. So you started your career in 2009, and that was in India. So are you originally from India, or are you like you were born in Sri Lanka?
Yes, yes, yes. A lot of people have that confusion, I think, or that thought. But I was born here. I was brought up here. My parents also are from Sri Lanka. They were born and brought up here. But my origin, or the what do you say, a few generations before me, have come from India.
India. Okay.
Uh, they had come from India. They settled here. And
Ah,
again, you had the 1993 riots and all of that. So during that, most of my family, everybody, my family at that time, my grandparents, they had to move back to India,
okay.
and that's the connection with India.
That's the connection with India. Okay, so my point was, like, like you started your career in 2009, and that was the time where digital marketing was becoming a part of the main media mix of each and every company. Digital marketing was actually, it has started booming at that time. So 2009, I'm talking. And after that only, like, each and every company now, almost every company needs digital media marketing as their one of the main pillars of their media mix. So how did you start familiarizing yourself to continue with this new medium in 2009? How did you face it?
Right. So, Tarinder, I mean, if I had to be very honest with you, 2009 was way still too early for digital, right?
Yeah.
2009, 10 was a year where digital was just having an online website, right? There are a few new websites in the country. I think there were three prominent websites, right?
Mm.
Then digital marketing was all about, having a banner advertisement on these
Yeah.
websites,
Mm.
right? Um, uh, I realized in that time it was actually a challenge, because most of the people, or the industry, or the companies, whoever the decision makers, they are, very seasoned, they are very thorough with their traditional mediums, right?
Mm, mm.
From their traditional
Of
platforms and
course.
all of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
For yes. So, as I said, I was working for one of the Sri Lanka's oldest and, largest leading newspaper companies,
Mm,
right? So I was in the uh, department, the online department. So my job, when I initially went and spoke to clients, what I realized was there was no point really, talking about digital marketing. First, I had to start from, what is the internet, what is Facebook, what is social media, right?
mm, mm.
And then last couple of slides, or the last slide was just, talking about my product or the platform I'm talking about, or my website I was representing, right? So that's how we started, I started my establishing my relationship with, especially with clients, right?
Mm,
So
mm.
I sometimes there senior people who are sitting in a boardroom when I go and present, they don't want to, ask immediate questions because in front of their staff or in front of their subordinates. So they sometimes actually get in touch with me later in the evening. They give me a call and they say, you were talking something about Google Analytics. You're talking about, something about Facebook.
Mm.
Can you explain that to me? Right? So that way I realized, okay, first I need to start explaining to them what was social media about, what was digital platforms about. Then I started, slowly marketing or selling, our company's platform. So
Mm.
that's how things started. And then again in 2010, 11, 13, then, we had to stay ahead of the others. So we had to come up with innovative things, right? So when we were working for the media, you come up with innovative stuff like, as you remember, we had all these, magic corners,
Yeah.
the page, you know, uh, collapsing into pieces, and then,
Correct,
to
correct.
grab the attention.
Yeah.
Uh,
Rich media initiatives.
exact Rich media, all of that. So
Yeah.
that's something we kept, doing,
Mm.
so that, that's how you keep showing your customers or your clients new things every 6 months, because otherwise it will become, stale. You're repeating the same
Mm.
thing.
So, so basically, from your answer, what I would actually get and share with my viewers is that it was a challenge, and what you did was you actually break it into pieces. Basically, you understood that okay, it was a challenge for me, and I need to learn this. And after that, in order to get businesses, I need to explain this to my clients. So, in order to do that, what you need to do is you need to first explain them what social media really is. Otherwise they wouldn't actually get it. So that's how you have actually familiarize yourself to the process.
Exactly.
Okay, so that is very systematic, man. Thank you for sharing that story. And working at media institutions, I would say must have really given you in-depth perspective as to how media really works in the country. And ultimately it must have helped you in terms of co-founding the company even. If you would like to talk about it, like, so then our viewers can understand what media is all about and what did you do in that media industry.
Yes, so working for very one of the leading media institutions here in Sri Lanka, um, I think that added a lot of experience to the way I uh, performed, or the way I could even go and sell something. Because actually, if you look at me, I come more than a technology based thing. My initial job was more into like sales and marketing, right? Then I was able to understand the platform, the technology, right? So that obviously, if you need to sell something, you need to understand what you're selling,
Yeah,
right?
of
And you need
course.
to know the
Product
exactly.
itself. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how I started familiarizing with the social media platforms, all the websites, even yeah, any digital platform I had to learn. And also working for media, I was able to even understand the traditional ways, like even if it was print, the how the production happens, then if it's electronic media, how radio, how TV works, right? And then it's about connecting both, like the traditional versus getting into the new platform digital, right?
Mm.
So that actually helped for me as a learning curve, or what do you say, how I learned a lot of things by working for uh, largest or leading all the oldest media institutions in the country.
Okay. So I would say that, like, when it comes to, you were doing marketing. Most of the time you were doing marketing. So when it comes
Yes.
to marketing, the most important thing is making a set of solid network. So what's your perspective on networking? Because I think it's a valid point to our viewers to, let them know what exactly networking is. It's not about, making a connection on LinkedIn. It's not that. It goes beyond that. So, like, you need to have a personal relationship with them. You need to actually, you can explain it better than me. So if you could explain what networking is and how important it is to your life.
True. So if you look at me, I was always like a very PR person, right? I like to interact. So even if you look at me, my career or my education, right? I never wanted to do something which I want to sit in one place and do, right?
Mm,
I am a person who wanted to. I always wanted a job which I don't want to sit in office or sit in one place and work, right?
mm, mm.
So your network is your asset in this particular area, which for me it was an asset, right? So, and again, when it comes to sales and marketing, there is an art or there's a science behind selling, right? You can't, really sell something if you start, rubbing something on your customers or potential customers' face, like going there and, being persistently, continuously pushing something, right? Obviously, people are going to hate it, right?
No, they won't.
So they won't. So there is the
That I
science what I
sorry,
learned.
eh, sorry to disturb.
Go ahead, go ahead. Yeah.
I really want to add this. That really happens on LinkedIn now. The way that people are approaching via messages, we have this policy, we have that policy. I really hate it, man. It's like very unprofessional. They really don't know what exactly, they're doing. So I think they need your consultation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether I'm like I can consult, but I can share my experience.
Yeah.
So when you go and meet someone, right?
Mm,
Yes, it's not easy to get an appointment. Especially, the way I started, it was all cold calls, right? You make a call, introduce yourself, right? So it's not easy. But then when you get that chance, opportunity, right? You need to make sure that you impress them, but not to also um, show off, not to bore them with unnecessary things, right?
mm,
You have to make it short,
mm,
crisp, and also show them something which they've never seen or which they don't know, right? So
mm,
that way, in terms of digital, I was able to go and show them new things.
mm,
So next time when you call them, they're always happy to ask you to come, because they know this guy, when he comes, he brings something new. He's not going to come and sell the same old thing, which usually, I'm just telling you an example, like uh, going with from a digital platform versus going from a traditional platform. Like
mm,
there, you
mm,
just go with a rate card or a schedule. You just go there, you present, and
mm,
that's what it was. But here, it was not. Again, even though in the first meeting you just go and talk about your website, next time you go and talk about something else,
mm,
right? It can be about as we spoke earlier, like a rich media innovation. It can be something to do with, say, for example, there was a Vesak times, we remember, I remember we used to do this Vesak digital Torana,
mm,
right? So things which you don't know, really have not seen, is that what you need to go and show to your clients. So that way, you build that, trust, you build that, relationship, the friendships, and then, you also not, you don't misuse that,
mm,
right? You don't unnecessarily bug them, you don't call them. So if you look at in the last 3 to 4 years, ever since we started Digital Content DC, one thing I have complete, especially with my accounts team, the marketing team, we never go and call clients and ask, can we come and meet you, we give us an appointment, never, right? The work we do has to talk for itself, and then we have, like, good word of mouth, and that's how customers come to us. But then
mm.
again, we don't take that to, because the moment we take that to our head, that's where again you fall, right?
Correct.
So we appreciate that, we appreciate, we acknowledge. End of the day, we are in the service industry, so it's our
Yeah.
job is to service every client, right? So we make sure, we if we are under capacity, we tell them, listen, we are really stuck at this moment. Please bear with us, for the next event or next time, we are definitely going to take it up, but this time, please work with your existing supplier or whoever they are with. But at the same time, we don't just because we have a lot of because that's a blessing, today's time, especially in today's situation, getting work and being able to run and keeping up the momentum is not easy, right?
Mm,
I mean,
mm,
so many industries are hit really bad. So that way it's actually a blessing, that we have a lot of work coming in. So we also always be thankful, we have that gratitude. And then that way I think the entire team also understands that. So that's what keeps us going.
mm. Okay, fascinating, fascinating. So this point is like this is the point where I really like to express um, the very purpose of this conversation is to share the learnings of your journey to inspire people who are listening to us. So if you want to talk about, if you can talk about the story of DZ, digital content, how did you like you told that it that the name was actually it was decided when you were having a coffee. So um but I know for a fact that you must have gone through difficulties, you must have gone through struggles. This is where we actually share the honest insights and then make value, add value to our listeners. So what were those struggles, and how did you really overcome it?
So I think it's a very good question. In anything you start with, uh, it's not easy, right?
Mm,
It is challenging, right? So when I said, we started DC, in a coffee shop, that's when I was, uh, having a chat with my other co-founders, how we can, do this, what is the plan, what the idea was. But right, when you really, think at that time, especially, your age, you're young, you're uh, all, enthusiastic to do something, you think everything will work out, right? Everything
of
will,
course.
work the way, you thought, because especially when you say, you have your contacts, you have your network, right? Build such a big base,
Gammon
right?
in.
Yeah, like excitement is there, but to be very honest, it's not that, it's even that's good, it's always very good to have that excitement, but
Mm,
everything never works according to what you think, right?
of course.
It never works, right?
Mm,
So if you look at, when we started DC, we had our struggle, we had our challenges, right? um, both financially, right? You have a lot of challenges, especially when you have started, you think clients will just start giving you business just because you know them. It doesn't really work like that, right?
no way.
You need to
Yeah.
prove up. You need to, maybe a couple of people might give you work just because yeah, like, okay, you are a friend or something, but you can't sustain that. So only way is to keep keeping up with the momentum, right? Not to give up, right? And always come up with something new.
Mm,
And then also to show that you're not misusing the relationship you have with them, or the the friendship you have with them,
mm,
is something is very key.
yeah.
So those are the key things which we followed.
Mm,
And very I say, there were so many times, there were, we were thinking maybe we should get an investor on board, to support us, because there are times, especially the first couple of years, especially if you ask my wife, she will tell you that
mm,
there are nights which I won't be able to sleep because you're feeling so stressed that you have to pay your salaries, right? End of the day,
mm,
there's a team who dependent on you, so you need to ensure that you have to pay salaries, and then you have cash flow troubles. In Sri Lanka how it works,
of
payments,
course,
the
of
cycle,
course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it takes right. You do something and then you're not big enough where you can't demand for advance also, because we are like new. So you have to accept whatever the terms the clients had,
Mm,
they tell you. So it is a stressful journey in the first 2 years, right? But luckily, I was supported. I had a very good co-founder, right? So he is amazing. You know him,
yeah,
Prasad.
yeah.
So he has, under any circumstances, he knows to deliver, right?
Mm,
He will just get the job done, and that way I was able to manage the business, manage the clients. Even though we have issues with resources, we somehow we got things done. And in terms of the financials, we had a very good bank who supported us. That also comes into play, right? The relationship you have with your branch, your manager there,
Very
right?
important.
So very important, yes. So they were able to help you. So that way we are so happy and we are so glad that we were able to not to run this cross all of that hurdles without an investor, without going in for massive loans from the bank. So just with the good relationship especially you had with your bank, we were able to uh, come out of that. And now I think I must say, touch wood, things are going smooth, going well. um, we have a very good team.
Mm,
And again, as even I say to myself that my team is like my second family.
of
So
course.
it's my
Mm,
responsibility and my co-founder Prasad's responsibility to look after them. So
of
we
course.
make sure we go the extreme to protect them, to make sure that they are well looked after, right? So this is how we operate.
Mm,
At the end of the day, you spend so much time with them, like
of course.
family. You
Yeah,
spend
yeah.
so much of time basis
So you
team. So
basically
it's
you
our job.
correct. You generally spend around 4 to 3 hours at home, and then most of the
Yes.
time you are at office, and you spend that time with the family, like the second family rather. And the other point is that while I was listening to you, it's just that people think that they need to have everything in perfect condition to start something, whereas like most of the people I have seen, whenever they want to start a business, what they really do is they take a loan and they go and like invest their first investment on a MacBook, and then they buy an iPhone, and after that only they will think about, I don't have a business plan, what I'm going to do, what is the next step, how can I actually get the investment for this machinery, and do I need to have a video editor, do I need to have a person who does Photoshop. So there's this misconception, like you need to have perfect things to start, but I don't believe in that. You just start, you just Gary Vaynerchuk always said that. He's been telling on this, like on his in his episodes, basically, whenever you want to, I was really inspired by that. Whenever you want to put a video, just don't give a shit about what you have. You just take the headphone, connect to the phone, on your camera, and then you bloody record it and put it. It's just that the content is what is valuable, not the quality of it, but the ultimate message that it delivers. So what do you think, like, do you have any message to people who are out there who's with that mindset to like start something? In order to start something, you need to have everything. What's your message for them?
Or not at all. I mean, look at you, right? What did you do? Just you started this channel, I think maybe a couple of months back. uh, you, you know I probably got a microphone and that's about it. Yeah, it's just
Of
the
course.
thought and the
Mm,
um, concept you had in your mind. You wanted to share stories or inspirational stories from people in your circle, in your industry, right?
yeah.
And you want to take it out. So if you look at my our story when we started DC, right? We didn't have anything, right? We just had anything. So I used to run around with the cables and the cameras, and I had my partner Prasad, and just a small team, right? Running here and there. It's the
You started in an
attitude.
apartment, right?
Yes, yes, yes. We started in a small. So we had one of our co-founders back then, right? So he had given us a small space.
Mm,
So that's how he, created started DC, and then
mm,
just very basic. And if you look at our work back in the days, even so, one thing which about us is that when we see our work, even which was produced like 6 months ago, which was done,
mm,
we still we see faults in it, right? We see how to improve that. How we sometimes I don't when we go for meetings and presentation, we don't show some of the work we've done 6 months ago. At that time, it would have been the best work we've done. We share it on Facebook, we talk about it, we make a lot of noise. But 6 months after, we are like, oops, did we actually do this? Right? No way. That's where we actually see all the little mistakes, or we keep improving, right?
mm,
But at the beginning, as I said, when you have to a concept you want to create, if you look at it, doesn't really matter about the quality, or quality in the sense you don't really have to think about, especially when you create video content, right? It's the thought and it's the idea, right? And then you start at it and you always get better at it, right?
Of
And you
course.
should not say, this is the best. No, it's there's always room to improve, right? So that's what you keep doing.
Mm,
And trust me, everything will start falling into place. There'll be support from your environment, I mean the people around you, with your family, with your friends, clients, customers. So that way, I think for us it was a blessing, right?
mm, mm,
So that will all fall into place, but your attitude is something very, very, very important. Like attitude is something which has to be always aggressive. You have to be very positive, right?
mm, mm,
Never give, and also good communication skills. So that's something we always talk about. It's more than, for us it didn't really matter even when we get people in our
mm,
team, right?
mm.
So, the skills or the experience comes in like probably third or fourth, right? First thing is the person's attitude, and the second thing is communication. So communications doesn't mean that the person has to speak good English, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's about hey, it's communicating. Even if you're not coming to work that day, it's about quickly sending a message, making sure your work is being there's someone to back you up, that's there is no interruption in your work. That is communication, right? Constantly you keep um,
Updating.
the updating, yeah, each other, so that the work or the business is going on smoothly.
Mm,
So then comes our skill, because job, the skills, you can always train a person on the job, right? If you have the attitude and the communication right, then anyone can be trained, right?
of
So
course.
we don't really always look for experience, or that's what, if you look at our company DC, you won't find anyone with a lot of experience who are coming in from other agencies, or other advertising, or from an industry, right? It's mostly a bunch of young people,
Mm,
but their attitude, their communication skills are on point.
on point. Okay. Netflix, chess, wildlife adventures. Out of those three, what is your favorite activity?
Yes, well, of course, wildlife adventures, but very unfortunately, right now, I don't think I've been have time to travel, but
Okay.
that will be one priority. If you look, I don't know how you
I
ask me
did
these
I did I did my background
things.
check, man.
Background checks. I used to do a lot of travel. I had a bunch of friends, from school, who
Mm,
are really, good at it, who spend a lot of time, in places like Yala and Vilpatu, and some jungles which it's not even allowed for normal people to go, right?
mhm, mm.
So that to tag along with them, and just go there. And I started liking the wildlife, sitting there, recording for hours and hours. So I used to have like so more than, I think, 100 or 150 GB of such amateur
Wow, man.
uh, footage from like handycams. And
What did you do to
because
them?
back in,
Where are they now?
it's it's just there, it's kept there in my, it's only thing in it, it's very amateur. It's like, as I said, it's not professional, but it's out there. And even when I come home, those days when you have so much time, you come and sit. My favorite channel was like
Nat
Animal
Geo.
Planet at Geo. Yes. So I always
I
I
didn't
always
know I didn't know that you play chess, man. I didn't know that. But when I heard the news, okay. And you watch Netflix, of course. So did you watch Queen Gambit
actually I did not the entire
season?
series.
Okay.
Yeah, entire series I didn't have the time, but I watched a few episodes here and there. Especially when my wife is watching, I try to watch here and there. But chess, I'm not a champion now or anything like that. It's just that it's a good mind game.
Mm,
So it's a very interesting game. So I like to play that. So sometimes only person, especially these lockdowns and all of that, I have to play with my wife. So sometimes there are occasions where and she calls her father and puts on a video call, and because he's also a very good chess player.
ah, okay.
So so it's interesting, when you have time, some free time for yourself, it's always
Mm,
good to
of course.
something.
You need to make sure that you have to what do you call release that pressure out of you. You need to find some activity to do, even reading a
Yes,
book, Netflix,
yes,
or like yeah, punching a wall. I don't know. You can do whatever you want. It's
No, no,
been
yeah,
a
something which,
yeah.
yeah, which is good for your, health wise, and which is actually more good for your health. That's
Mm,
something good, because I also, even with Netflix, I actually watch a lot of content which is like you learn a lot, right? There are so many
mm, of course.
document, yeah, videos
Documentaries.
on,
Yeah.
yeah. If at my place, actually, I don't have a TV, what do you call it, a cable TV or a dish TV or anything like that. It's just,
Netflix.
Netflix, Amazon Prime, a
Mm,
couple of, other channels like that. I mean, apps like that.
mm,
Because news is always on the internet, right? You watch,
of
everything
course.
is there on
Yeah,
Facebook.
yeah.
If you look at today's number one gossip platform or news platform, just Facebook. You go there, you have everything.
Everything is there, man. Everything is leaked
Whatever.
out.
Yeah, exactly. So that's there. So that's where I consume all the news. And then
Mm,
apart from that, most of the, even if you want to watch local content, everything's on YouTube today, right?
mm.
So so that's what, my life is about.
Okay. It's been a very pleasant and very insightful chat with you, Arjun. Thank you very much for your time and really appreciate your, like effort and, thanks for giving me this time slot to, interview you and, have a chat with you and get to know you better.
Thanks, Tarindu, and I'm also wishing you all the best with this.
Thank you very
Just
much.
keep doing. I think you should bring in more good resources to your interviews, and then I'm sure there are so many people who can watch and learn, even if not now. But I'm sure these content, I mean, videos are going to be there on YouTube forever. So at some point, I'm sure it's going to like add a lot of value. I hope it adds value to the people who are going to watch this.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you.
Okay. See you then.
Yeah, talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Yeah. Bye.